We're going to remove and replace the rear sight on the Smith & Wesson revolver. For this, we're going to mount it in the vise. So we have ensured the gun is unloaded. I'm going to close the cylinder so that I can get the revolver mounted fully in the vise so I can access the rear sight. It has a single screw at the front of the sight, and the elevator screw has a T-nut that fits into a slot in the revolver frame. So we're going to unloosen the elevator, remove the front screw, and that should enable us to tip the sight and slide it out of the T-nut slot, and then we'll replace it with the HIVIZ sight. I'm going to back the elevation off, not far enough to remove the nut, but to where it's loose. I'm going to change bits for the retainer screw, and I'm going to remove the retainer screw. So now the sight should be loose enough to slide it rearward. Now you can see the square-headed T-nut that slides into this slot in the frame. That nut will stay affixed to this as an assembly, and the HIVIZ assembly will install in the exact manner. So we've designed the HIVIZ sight to look, fit, and feel just like a Smith & Wesson factory sight. Smith & Wesson builds a high-quality revolver. All their parts have great contouring and mechanical mechanisms, and we've tried to design ours to duplicate that. So you'll see here on the HIVIZ sight, with the windage screw, the elevation square nut, what we make here is we make the blade and the arm. All of the hardware from the elevator screw, the nut, the windage screw, springs, detents, all the mechanism in this are Smith & Wesson parts. So this is going to fit and function on your revolver just like a Smith & Wesson factory sight, only it will be upgraded with interchangeable fiber optics. So this square T-nut is essentially what controls the elevation on the sight. I could unscrew it all the way out of there, so what I want to do is back that out to where it's got a reasonable amount of play in it. That'll allow me to align it squarely with the sight. And since I backed it out, that'll allow me to slide in into the sight, hopefully very easily. So once you slide in there, you can see that the elevation is set very high, but that's fine because that allows me to install my retainer screw here, because the arc of this sight is a spring and it's got an arc to it. So we want to back off that elevator so we can install this front retainer screw, tighten that down, and then when we crank the elevation down, that'll create spring tension. If you have that set down too low, you'll basically be trying to force the blade down onto the frame. So we want to take our retainer screw, tighten that down, then move our elevation screw down to, if the revolver was previously sighted in, and you have a reference for the gap between the blade and the frame, you may want to set it to that for your starting point. That's all there is to installing the HIVIZ rear sight on the Smith & Wesson revolver. We're ready to go to the range to sight this in.